Sekuzogamanxa ihora lesihlanu ngqo empondweni khona la ku SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Ngikubingelele mbukeli ngikwamukele to your youth favorite show right here on SABC 1. Mina igama lami ngo-Azaria wakwaKhoza. Ake mbukeli, this week see expressions sizobe sicubungela udaba lomholi we-economic freedom fighters umnumzane Julius Malema. Uzokhumbula ke mbukeli ukuthi charges were laid after he fired several shots with a firearm during the EFF's 5th birthday celebration ebibanjelwe e-East London at the Sisadukashe Stadium endaweni yasemdantsane. Uvelile ke mbukeli ngaphambi kwenkantolo kaManshi umnumzane uMalema watholakala enecala lokuqhumisa isibhamu edlangalaleni. Umbuzo ke mbukeli sibuzayo ukuthi ingabe uma kwenzeka aboshwe ngempela kuzokwenzakalani na ngekusasa le-EFF futhi uma emsulwa are courts in South Africa being used to settle political scores now? Let's take a look at this insert mbukeli sihlanganisele umdidiyeli wethu uMziyanda Mbedla.
I think for now we can trust the South African judiciary because if we don't have courts, where else we can rely to?
I think judgment is not sure about Malema because this thing is long time ago, from 2018.
I think they are pushing a racism thing. That's my take on it, because what do you mean he's guilty for firing the firearm, yet the other guy is not guilty for giving him the firearm?
Both committed the same crime. It doesn't matter whether it's white or black or colored or Indian. If the court of law says that this is the rule and this is the law, then the court of law must be held accountable for that rule.
Also, I've been saying to a lot of people that before you celebrate the verdict of Malema, you must take into consideration who are the people that took him to court, and do your proper research on what possible reasons why they started the case.
The judgment was actually trying to show the South Africans that no one is actually above the law. It is very important that the leaders that we have in South Africa, but they must lead by example. They must show that element of respecting the constitution and the law of South Africa.
I think the judge used more of her emotions than the legal procedures.
So if you're going to have leaders that are leading the society to the point of the fact that they don't respect the law, what kind of message are they giving to the society?
Mixed views coming from ababukeli bethu be-expressions. Ingabe wena mbukeli ucabangani ngaleli cala nanokuthi is this the beginning of the end for iqembu le-EFF na? Kuzokwenzakalani ngaleli qembu mbukeli uma umholi walo eboshwa? To help me unpack this discussion right now, I am joined by Jack Broderick nokhulumela i-AfriForum Community Safety, and I'm also joined by isikhulumeli se-EFF umnumzane uDumsani Baleni. Gentlemen, nginibingelele and welcome to Expressions. I just want to start with you, Jacques. We have mixed emotions from our young people on the streets. And a lot of people are saying that a lot of young people should take into consideration who brought Malema into court. Are you happy with the verdict?
I don't think happy is the right description.
Yeah.
We are satisfied because we believe in equality before the law. Our position is that you and I were created equally as human beings.
Yeah.
We have the same rights. We are allowed to do the same things, and we should.
Yeah.
Therefore, we also have equality before the law, which is one of the cornerstones of any democracy or free society.
Yeah.
When we get to a place where we create a new system where political elites and their cronies can get away with what they want to, while you and I need to follow the law, we're creating a new system of oppressors and oppressed, and that won't be acceptable.
Yeah. Mr. Baleni, what's your reaction to the verdict as iqembu le-EFF?
Well, first of all, we must clarify that the EFF is one of the political organizations that respects the law, that upholds the law, that respects the systems in the country, and we fight to advance the systems in the country, as opposed to AfriForum that fights to advance certain interests in this country. We feel that the verdict here is politically motivated. It is influenced not only by the proceedings in court, but by certain views and certain things that were said even outside the courts. Particularly, you would know that Donald Trump would have said that South Africa must make a plan to deal with Julius Malema. And AfriForum has been part of the institutions that has been pursuing President Julius Malema and trying to ensure that they silence him. And this is court case, how it was run, how the judgment was delivered, and everything with it smells political motivation, smells racism, smells not equality before the law.
Yeah, which was going to be my next question to you, Mr. Broderick. The EFF believes that there's a racial motivation behind this case, and I want us to address the racial factor. Mr. Snyman was acquitted on all of his charges, and the EFF says that AfriForum is one of those organizations that have always been on Mr. Malema's back, trying to bring him down. Do you think that AfriForum used this case to settle a political score?
No, I think that Mr. Malema needs to stop inciting people and he needs to stop breaking the law. I mean, I'll be honest with you, the answer now that the EFF is one of the organizations that upholds the law is ludicrous. It's almost as dishonest as the EFF's promises of building a school for the poor, which still hasn't happened. So we need to be honest about this. If you look at AfriForum's role in this, we lay charges against Mr. Snyman and Mr. Malema. Not just against Mr. Malema.
Okay.
So we don't have control over the court's decision.
Yeah.
We didn't have control over the charges that we laid.
Yeah.
And I think that proves our case.
Yeah. But are you then happy with the verdict because Mr. Snyman was acquitted on all of his charges, but it was said that he's the one that handed the gun to Mr. Malema on the day of the event?
So we know that Mr. Snyman was brought into this to try and as a smokescreen to say we are not pursuing a racist agenda. This is AfriForum that says today here that they are happy with equality before the law and all that. When, if we check in all their cases, in all what they've pursued, has always been an anti-EFF agenda. And we cannot come and accept that today they want to lay charges for both of them. We knew that they are just throwing Mr. Snyman in this
as a
case
facade.
As a facade.
Okay.
So that there may be some sort of appearance that there is some equality that is projected here. But the judgment eventually shows that there's never been equality here. There's always been a witch hunt. There's always been a target on the president and the commander-in-chief of the EFF. And unfortunately, whatever efforts they are trying to make, they won't be able to destroy the EFF.
Yeah.
The future of the EFF looks very bright. And I am saying it to you now.
Yeah.
There is no day in the political career of the EFF, of the commander-in-chief, where the law was not followed, where the commander-in-chief never went to the courts and respected the courts, where he never subjected himself to the legal system of this country.
Yeah.
And there would be any day where the EFF says, we do not believe in the constitution, we do not believe in the laws.
hearing a bit of a sigh from you, sir. Do you disagree with what he's saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if we didn't have scandals like the VBS Bank scandal where senior EFF leaders were implicated in stealing granny's pension funds and spending it on champagne, if we didn't have issues like the on-point engineering scandal and so many other scandals that EFF leaders have been involved with, I could have taken the remarks seriously. Unfortunately, we're looking at the facts, and the facts tell a different story.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the decline of the EFF is concerned, well, we'll have to see about that.
Yeah.
I see my esteemed colleague here is very spirited, and that's good.
Yeah.
But if I look at the last election results and I look at the show of force that, for instance, has been coming to the East London courts over the years, it's been declining. So I think people are starting to wake up. They're starting to see through this actual facade, which is the EFF and the empty promises. And I think they're going to feel it in the next elections.
Mr. Balini, speaking of the decline of the EFF, siyazi ukuthi ngenkathi nisungula leli qembu ngonyaka ka-2013, a lot of young people in South Africa were behind EFF. Ikusasa lithini right now, because a lot of people are like, okay, I support the EFF, but we don't know ukuthi uma kwenzeka ukuthi Mr. Malema akhalelwa ngamasongo kaSigonyela and he does go to jail, what's going to happen to the EFF?
Okay, I think what Jack says here, it proves exactly what we are saying about this court case. It is politics. All he has brought here has always been about politics, throwing a lot of things that have not been tested in court, throwing a lot of political, jabs when AfriForum projects itself as an organization that is not participating in the political space. There is no day where CIC was called to a court and he has avoided the day in court, or he has ridiculed the courts in South Africa.
Yeah, but sorry just to interject. Umasbega ama results from the elections, we can see ukuthi vele there is a decline when it comes to supporters with EFF. Right now, I'm asking
which results are you basing on?
The elections from elections which is buyagu.
Yeah, so the 29 May elections, the EFF declined with a very small number. We're at 9.58. We're from 10%. That is not a significant decline. And the decline was accounted for in that the ANC declined, in that almost all organizations declined, and the MK party saw a very huge growth, which was the matter which was the impact the EFF felt of the MK.
Yeah.
There's no decline of the EFF as projected by AfriForum, the DA, and all other white political organizations. That the EFF now is being there's a mass movement from the EFF. Look at the SRC elections, for instance. The EFF is scooping all of them. And those are young people you are talking about. Yeah. Look at the elections and by-elections. The EFF is not dropping in by-elections. If the EFF is not maintaining its base, the EFF is growing. Yeah. So this decline they wish for, it will not happen. It is not coming anytime soon. It will never happen. And the arrest, it's not going to happen. The commander-in-chief of the EFF is not going to jail.
Ake mbukeli iqembu le-EFF lisho kanjalo ukuthi umholi walo angeke akhalelwe amasongo kaSigonyela. Okwamanje ke sithi qhu eyitolo siyabuya. This is Expressions ungayindawo. Yes, I would like some water. Welcome back. You're still watching Expressions. We are talking about the recent Malema court judgment. Nanokuthi uma kwenzeka umnumzana Malema akhalelwe ngamasongo kaSigonyela, lokho kuzolithikameza kangakanani iqembu le-EFF. Nanokuthi, is it all just a political game? Are courts in South Africa being used to settle political scores? Right now, I'm joined telephonically by Elton Hart, nongusolwazi wezomthetho from the UJ Law Clinic, kanye noisishoshovu right now umandla with me. But Mr. Hart, I just want to start with you. We know that the court case is still in process and the sentencing will be on the 23rd of January next year, which is 2026. Now, the South African Constitution under Section 297 states that if a member of parliament is sentenced for more than a year, they will be disqualified from parliament. How do you see this unfolding? Do you think that Mr. Malema might lose his seat in parliament?
Now, obviously, if one looks at first, and one needs to understand that the court can actually give him a different variety of sentences. And it can be that they come back and say that the sentence is entirely suspended or it's partially suspended. And then, obviously, he would not lose his seat. Obviously, if he gets direct imprisonment and it's for longer than a year, then only would that provision of the Constitution kick in.
Mm. Now, it is said that Mr. Snyman is the one that handed him the gun, but then he was acquitted on all of his charges. Do you think that this was a fair judgment?
No, but I think Mr. Snyman was acquitted on counts 2 and 5. That was the only thing that I could pick up from the judgment, that he was acquitted on 2 and 5. And obviously, handing somebody a firearm for which you have a license, I don't think there's an offense. So I don't think that the state actually tried Mr. Snyman on him handing the firearm, because that's not an offense. Mm. So we need to make sure that we understand that that was never an offense. Yeah. We need to just look at discharging of a firearm in a built-up area, possession of a firearm without a permit, possession of ammunition without a permit. That is the type of charges that the NPA preferred against Mr. Malema. Yeah. And not necessarily to say they were saying, because there is no such an offense to say that I hand you a gun that is legally mine. I can give it to you, you can look at it, and give it back to me as long as it's under my supervision, so it doesn't make it an offense. Yeah. Now, we know very well that with this type of a court case, we are looking at the maximum sentence of about 15 years. But if Mr. Malema appeals, because he did say that he's willing to take this all the way to the Constitutional Court if needs be, do you think that this case will then drag for years on end? No, indeed. Remember, the court rolls are full, and we only have one appeals court and one constitutional court that has to attend to all the matters that comes out of South Africa. Yeah. So sometimes you wait a long time for your matter to actually be heard. So just merely based on the resources available, it might mean that, because remember, sentencing is already in 2026 January. Yeah. So if they now appeal and he's released on appeal bail, they might even get to that matter maybe later the year in 2026, even coming to 2027. Yeah. So it might mean that certain things, it will take long. And obviously, you was now sentenced, and one needs to now know you are sentenced in a magistrate's court. Yeah. So you can appeal now to the High Court, and which means it's a one judge. You can then go to the full bench of the High Court, then from the full bench of the High Court, you can then go to the Supreme Court of Appeal, and from the Supreme Court of Appeal, you can go to the Constitutional Court. So there's a long road of appeal that's still lying ahead of you. So it can still take time for this to be finalized.
Thank you so much, Mr. Alton. Ake mbukeli loyo bekusolwazi wezomthetho esicubungela ukuthi mhlambe kungenzakalani kule minyaka ezayo as far as this case court is concerned. Right now, Mr. Mandla, welcome to Expressions Butwami. Ngifuna mhlambe ungichazisele because a lot of young people feel ukuthi there's a racial card edlaliwe kuleli cala lika Mr. Malema. What's your take on it?
First to start with, asibheke ijudge ekuyilo belibheke icala lika Malema. Umuntu obuya kwi-DF Malan War School where ukuzonda umuntu omnyama njengobhudlome la lo baba lo uyazi ukuthi umuntu omnyama uzalwa nje uyamzonda. So by the time you go there, you are already guilty by the judge herself, because the judge herself is a product of apartheid, and apartheid, that is where you are taught to hate a black person. Secondly, if you are an activist, remember our law has not changed. It has still, Criminal Procedural Act, it's still in a posture of apartheid, which says a black man is guilty before even going to court. So by the time Julius Malema went to that court, he was already guilty from the judge itself and from the society and from the social law that this man is guilty. So it was racial. At that moment, the judge was just doing a smoke screen to say this person is guilty.
So are you saying that we should turn a blind eye to the fact that there was video evidence? Bekhona i-video ebisabalele enkundleni zokuxhumana ibonisa umnumzana uJulius Malema ephethe isibhamu.
Angithi umsuka nesiqalo nesiphetho kulandela sona.
Okay.
Uma ubona ukuthi ziningi izigameko ezifana nezikaMalema okuwukuthi ziyenzeka zenziwa belungu, ngiyakutshela ngisho umlungu lo sinayo la e-studio angabe unamanga mengathi akaza athatha isibhamu asidubule ukuthi ithathwe ngevideo and yenziwe i-activist okuyi-activist against umuntu omnyama. I mean, AfriForum, if we were talking that they are serious about the law, AfriForum would have followed up Falapala, would have followed up a lot of cases that involve even white people. But we understand that white people cannot follow up these things because they are part and parcel of manipulating the judiciary system, because they kill each other when it comes to insurance money and all these things. And if you go to that Madlanga Commission and expose, you'll find that white people have been manipulating the judiciary system from the onset. Even after apartheid, they are still continuing to do that. Even now, they are trying to settle a political score because an instruction came from Trump. And Trump said, why don't you arrest this man?
Okay, we will give AfriForum isithuba lokuthi baziphendulele lapho, but ngiyazi ukuthi nawe uyishoshovu sabantu abasha and you engage a lot with abantu abasha. Abantu abasha bamanqika njengamanje bayasho ukuthi uma kwenzeka ukuthi uMr Malema eboshwa, is this the beginning of the end of iqembu le-EFF?
Angicabanga kanjalo. Uma ubone EFF manje ijoinwa abantu abasha, and if that means ukuthi EFF ijoinwa abantu abasha, that means the future is secured, because an organization that should be worried is an organization that is losing young people. EFF is gaining young people more than losing them, and more especially young people with no sentiments of ANC. Because AFF has been having this problem, and other organizations have been having problem of people with sentiments of ANC. Now we're having young people who never will be manipulated, Mandela or Oliver Tambo. They will be knowing what is the current government doing. So the future of EFF is bright. The country should put in glasses and watch it.
Hake mbukeli amaphapho aphezulu imimoya iphezulu umbuzo uthi ingabe kuzowenzakalani na uma kwenzeka ukuthi uMr Malema aboshwe ngempela. What's going to happen to iqembu le-EFF? Uma sibuya sizothatha ingcingo ungayindawo. This is Expressions right here on SABC 1. Siphinde sikwamukele mbukeli usabukele Expressions khona la ku SABC 1. Ingabe nawe umlandeli we-EFF, ingabe nawe amaphapha phezulu awazi ukuthi kuzowenzakalani ngekusasa uma kwenzeka ukuthi uMr Malema aboshwe ngempela? That's the conversation we are having namhlanje lapha ohlelweni. Gentlemen, before we went to an ad break, there was a heated discussion on the other side. Points that were directed at AfriForum and the judge. I don't know if you would like to respond to what the gentleman said earlier on.
Yeah, I would very much like to respond to that. And I honestly think it's very disappointing that we are 30 years into democracy and we still have people who are so obsessed with race as the guest you just had on. I find it offensive and unproductive. Secondly, his opinion is unfortunately either dishonest or uninformed, because any of your viewers, and I would like to welcome your guest as well, to go to our website, have a look at our press statements, and see how many white people we have privately prosecuted or pushed to be privately prosecuted, and how many black families or families of other cultural or ethnic races we have stood by and assisted to find justice. So those accusations are false, and I absolutely condemn it.
Do you think that this is the end of Julius Malema's political career?
I think it's the beginning of the end. Like your legal analyst said as well, this court case might still take many years. Maybe he goes to prison, maybe not. Hopefully by the time this is all finished, the EFF would have built that school they promised 6 years ago. But we'll see. I think this is the beginning of the end.
Mr. Baleni, is this the beginning of the end?
Well, number one, we will build the school. We've over-explained it. And I don't think we should be explaining it to AfriForum. And I don't know why they are so concerned. We'll build our school.
But you can use this platform to explain it to the people. They are watching.
We've explained that we're in advanced processes in terms of applying with the municipality in building the school. So we are waiting on the Mogale City municipality to ensure that our things are approved. And we know that there is influence in making sure that the EFF does not begin with the project. But it's a project we've promised our people. AfriForum does not enter anywhere in that. Number two is that the EFF, if you know that the Commander-in-Chief's political career has always been that of being followed and being persecuted by organizations like AfriForum, by the courts, of political manipulation of the state institutions to try and pursue him. And that has never deterred him, because the president is a revolutionary. He understands, and when he always says these things, that whenever the day he took up a responsibility to lead a political organization, to engage in the struggles of our people, he understood exactly what would be the consequences. The consequences would be that of AfriForum, of Donald Trump, of imperialist institutions trying to bring him down. And the people of South Africa know exactly that. And that is why the EFF will not end any time, will not end now. That is why the EFF will continue to grow. But also the growth of the EFF, that's why we need to emphasize this. The growth of the EFF is in institutions of higher learning, in universities and colleges. It tells you that there's people who are able to think, who are able to reason, who know exactly what the EFF stands for.
Because of time, sir, we have to wrap that up. But I want you to know that it's only a fraction of the youth of South Africa, abangama students. A lot of people are not students in South Africa. But because of time, we have to wrap that up. Expressions. We're talking about Iksasa le EFF. Okomanje Semito is standing by. Good night.
Mama kimutotsi musadi, kimutotsi musadi, kimutotsi musadi. Oh mama kimutotsi musadi, kimutotsi musadi, kimutotsi musadi. Mawani bulele, mawani bulele, oh kimutotsi musadi. Mawani bulele, mawani bulele, oh kimutotsi musadi. Kitotsi musadi wadi khumuzandade. Kitotsi musadi asatwani le masadi baba. Yonwa haabu ikabatu. Trompa muyena yisinyehe nyehe. Habu wa hapa misilinzi. Miko kubetu bujile sisi uyena. Kimusa